Hi, my name is Josh. Are you tired of peace in your church? Are you fed up with agreeing with your friends and family? Have you had enough of peaceful Thanksgiving conversation? What if you could meet in coffee shops and fight with all your former friends about your beliefs? Then boy, have I got the thing for you. Calvinism. With this way of thinking, you can get into fights with all the people you once enjoy being around. To give us the details of this revolutionary way of thought, we turn to our expert on the subject. He's kind of an expert. His credentials were good. His name is Calvin. But before we turn to him, here is a list of some popular Calvinists. We have Calvin Klein, I think this is the list of Calvins. Anyways, now to Calvin, our Australian expert on Calvinism, I think. Let's take a look at the founder of Calvinism and why this is such a heated topic. So heated, in fact, that you could fry a Outback steak on the burning remains of your former friendships. Quite a delicious option, I might. Back to you, Josh.
Pardon the wardrobe change, I thought I'd spice it up a little bit. So we have John Calvin, born in 1509 in Oise, France. Such a peaceful little boy, who knew that so many friendships would be obliterated as a result of this tiny child's life. He was a very French man, a scholar, and an almost priest turned lawyer. He was studying to become a priest, but he slowly diverted from the profession due to some personal beef, and also probably due to the corruption in the place he was about to devote his life to. What corruption, you might ask? Oh yay, Jesus paid the price for my sins in full, I don't have to go to hell anymore.
Oh yeah, you're so totally right, and he did do that. But you totally still have to pay us all your money to get into heaven. Also, it's on you to save your grandma and mother and brother and all your other relatives from purgatory. How do you do that? By paying us, of course, and doing whatever else we say for the remainder of your life.
Calvin is quoted as furiously stating, so he really said, and diverged from the church, because in law school he studied Greek. Why do we care, you ask? Because only fancy super spiritual people could read Greek, and there weren't many fancy people, and that was the only language you could read the New Testament in, because obviously the New Testament is where we find out about that tiny little part where our souls are saved for eternity, and we can't have everyone reading that in the common language, because then we couldn't use the fear of hell to control them anymore. So Calvin figured this out, and wanted to tell everybody about this newfound freedom in Christ, which obviously would be a bad thing for the church, because no more soul-saving indulgences. And the church didn't like that. So they basically kicked him out of the Papal States. He saw Switzerland, whose national animal is a cow, and he undoubtedly thought, yes. So he fled to Basel, Switzerland, not an herb, where he would publish a destructive work, both for the corrupt religious systems of the day, and potentially for the friendships of Christians everywhere. However, it was pivotal. It was essentially the statement of the basis of the new Reformed faith. This work was titled Institutes of the Christian Religion. The fully formed Latin version of this work was more than 4 times longer than that of its earlier editions. It dealt with God's sovereignty, God's grace, and also his redemption of incredibly undeserving sinners like us. He then moved on to Geneva, where he definitely planned on staying absolutely no more than 1 night only.
That's called foreshadowing.
In comes Guillaume Farel, who was struggling to raise up the Protestant movement in Geneva. And he's like, hey, can you help? And then Calvin's like,
no.
And then Farel is like,
Please.
and Calvin's like,
Okay.
so he stays and ends up making it his home for a lot longer than that. Basically, he stays, preaches even though he's terrified, steps on some proverbial toes, brings Jesus to the common people, world-changing revival, and so on and so forth. But Josh, you might say, where's the part where I can hate everyone I now love? Well, that part is traced back to his followers. That's right, the infamous 5 points of Calvinism were actually developed by his followers. So if you want to learn more, call 800-654-9642. That's 1-800-694-8642 for more details.